Kim Woo stepped off the transport shuttle onto the gleaming floors of Stellar Prime dealership, the galaxy's most prestigious starship showroom. His simple black jacket and worn travel boots looked out of place among the polished chrome and floating holographic displays. The massive showroom stretched for kilometers, filled with sleek fighter craft, luxury cruisers, and military-grade battleships that could level entire planets. The air hummed with advanced technology. Gravity manipulators kept the largest ships suspended in midair while customers walked beneath them. Holographic sales representatives flickered between languages, adjusting their appearance to match each visitor's species. The scent of ozone and recycled atmosphere filled Wu's nostrils as he took in the impressive sight. Behind the main counter stood Zeph, a tall Elterian with blue skin that shimmered like liquid metal. His forearms moved with practiced efficiency as he processed transactions on multiple screens simultaneously. When his large black eyes landed on Wu, they narrowed with immediate disdain. "Security checkpoint is behind you, human," Zeph said, without looking up from his work. Maintenance staff enters through the rear loading dock. Wu ignored the insult and walked deeper into the showroom. A magnificent vortex glass interceptor caught his attention. Its sleek silver hull curved like a blade, equipped with plasma cannons that could punch through asteroid fields. The price display showed numbers that would bankrupt most planetary governments. "Impressive craftsmanship," Wu said, running his hand along the ship's smooth surface. "The quantum stabilizers must give it incredible speed in hyperspace jumps." Zeph's expression shifted from annoyance to disgust. He slithered over on his tentacle-like lower body. His forearms crossed menacingly. "Don't touch the merchandise with your primitive hands. These ships cost more than your entire planet's yearly income." A group of wealthies and tiny nobles nearby turned to watch the confrontation. Their crystalline bodies refracted the showroom's lights into rainbow patterns as they whispered among themselves. Two massive Gorak warriors, their rocky skin scarred from countless battles, paused their examination of a heavy assault cruiser to observe the scene. "I'm interested in purchasing your premium fleet," Wu said calmly, his voice carrying across the showroom. "Could you arrange a meeting with the owner?" Zeph's laughter echoed off the metallic walls like breaking glass. Other customers stopped, their browsing to stare. "The owner? You think the new proprietor of Stellar Prime dealership meets with every vagrant who wanders in here?" The sleek service droid rolled over, its sensors scanning Wu from head to toe. "Credit verification incomplete," it announced in a mechanical voice. "Insufficient financial records detected. See?" Zeph spread his forearms wide. "Even our basic scanners know you don't belong here. This establishment serves the galaxy's elite. Military commanders, corporate executives, planetary governors. Not some human drifter who probably stowed away on a cargo freighter." Wu remained perfectly still, his dark eyes taking in every detail of the showroom. He noticed the security cameras tracking his movements, the armed guards positioned near the exits, and the way other customers gave him a wide berth. The Zentauri nobles had started recording the encounter on their personal devices, apparently. Finding his humiliation entertaining, the scrapyards in Sector 7 might have something in your price range, Zeph continued, his voice dripping with condescension. "Old mining shuttles, decommissioned patrol boats, ships more suited to your economic situation." A young Alterian mechanic emerged from beneath a nearby fighter, her blue skin marked with grease stains and her work clothes functional rather than decorative. She glanced at Wu with curious eyes, then at her manager with obvious discomfort. "Manager, Zeph," she said quietly. "Perhaps we should at least show him our catalogue of pre-owned vessels." Zeph's head snapped toward her like a striking serpent. "Yikes. Return to your maintenance duties immediately. Don't waste our time encouraging these primitives to dream beyond their station." The young mechanic's shoulders sagged as she retreated back to her workstation. Wu noticed her kindness and filed it away in his memory. In a galaxy full of prejudice, basic decency stood out like a beacon. "I understand your position," Wu said. His voice still calm despite the mounting tension. "However, I believe there's been a misunderstanding about my credentials." Zeph activated his wrist communicator with a flourish. "Security to showroom Alpha. We have a persistent vagrant who needs escort services to the exit." Heavy footsteps approached as the security guards marched over. These weren't ordinary personnel, they were ex-military Thaxians. Their thick armor, plating covering muscle that could crush steel. Their helmet visors glowed red as they sized up the human intruder. "Sir, you need to leave immediately." The lead guard growled through his helmet's voice modulator. "This is private property reserved for legitimate customers." Wu simply nodded and stepped backward, his hands visible and non-threatening. But his eyes never stopped moving, cataloging faces, noting conversations, recording every detail of how Stellar Prime dealership conducted its business. He'd traveled halfway across the galaxy for this moment, and nothing would stop him from seeing it through to its inevitable conclusion. The showroom fell silent except for the hum of anti-grav generators and the whisper of recycled air through the ventilation systems. Everyone waited to see if the human would cause trouble or submit to his obvious inferiority. Wu smiled slightly and walked toward the exit, leaving behind a room full of beings who had no idea they'd just made the biggest mistake of their lives. Wu positioned himself near a display of navigation equipment, pretending to study the holographic star charts while security guards kept their distance. From this vantage point, he could observe the entire showroom and how the staff interacted with different customers. What he witnessed made his jaw clench with controlled anger. A group of Alterian military officers strutted through the main entrance, their polished uniforms gleaming with medals and rank insignia. Immediately, 3 sales representatives rushed to greet them, bowing deeply in respect. Manager Zeph personally escorted them to the VIP section where the most expensive warships were displayed behind. "Energy barriers, Admiral Vex, such an honor to have you return," Zeph gushed, his forearms gesturing grandly toward a massive dreadnought. This beauty just arrived from the Corridan shipyards, plasma cannons capable of cracking moons, shield generators that could protect entire fleets. The Admiral nodded approvingly as technicians activated the ship's systems for a private demonstration. Blue energy crackled along the vessel's weapon rays while holographic displays showed its devastating firepower. Champagne was served on silver trays by floating service droids, while the officers toured the ship's luxurious interior. Meanwhile, a family of Zentari traders waited patiently near the mid-tier vessels. Their crystalline bodies flickered with nervous energy as they tried to get a salesperson's attention. When a junior staff member finally approached them, his manner was cold and professional. "Budget is limited to 2 million credits, the Zentari father explained, his voice tinkling like breaking glass. "We need reliable transport for our merchant fleet." The salesman sighed dramatically. "I suppose we have some older models that might suit your requirements. Nothing with the latest technology. Of course, follow me to the discount section." The family was led to a corner of the showroom where outdated fighters sat gathering dust. No demonstrations, no refreshments, just a quick walkthrough of basic specifications before the salesman hurried back to more profitable customers. Wu watched 3 human tourists enter the showroom, their excitement visible as they pointed at various spacecraft. They approached the information desk where a receptionist droid scanned them with cold sensors. Humans detected. The droid announced, "Redirecting to public viewing area only." No sales consultations available. The tourists looked confused and hurt as they were guided to a roped-off section where they could only observe ships from a distance. Security guards made sure they didn't get too close to anything valuable. Within minutes, they left in disappointment. A group of wealthy Thaxian industrialists received the red carpet treatment, complete with personal escorts and detailed technical briefings. A delegation of Corvan ambassadors was shown experimental prototypes not available to the general public. Even the insectoid hive mind representatives were treated with cautious respect due to their collective purchasing power. But when a lone human merchant tried to inquire about cargo haulers, he was handed a basic brochure and told to contact the sales department if he could prove adequate financing. The man left without even being shown a single ship. Yix, the young Alterian mechanic, emerged from beneath the fighter's engine compartment, her blue skin glistening with hydraulic fluid. She glanced round the showroom and noticed Wu still observing from his position. Unlike the other staff, she approached him with genuine curiosity rather than suspicion. "Excuse me," she said quietly, wiping her hands on a work rag. "I couldn't help but notice your interest in the Vortex-class interceptor earlier. Are you familiar with quantum propulsion systems?" Wu turned to face her, surprised by the respectful tone. "I have some experience with advanced engines. The quantum tunneling effect in hyperspace navigation is particularly fascinating." Yix's eyes lit up with excitement. Finally, someone who understands real engineering. Most customers just want to know how fast it goes and how many weapons it carries. They don't appreciate the elegant mathematics behind dimensional folding. "Get back to work." Zeph's voice boomed across the showroom. Like a thunderclap, his forearms waved angrily as he abandoned his VIP customers and stormed toward them. "EX, what did I tell you about wasting time on these primitives?" The young mechanic's shoulders sagged with embarrassment. "But, sir, he was asking intelligent questions about quantum mechanics and I don't care if he claims to understand theoretical physics," Zeph snarled. "Humans barely mastered fire a few thousand years ago. They're not capable of comprehending technology that civilized species have spent millennia perfecting." Several customers turned to watch the confrontation. The Alterian officers smirked with amusement while the Zentari family looked uncomfortable. A group of Corvan diplomats whispered among themselves, clearly disapproving of the public display. We stepped forward calmly. "Perhaps I could demonstrate my understanding by explaining the gravitational wave resonance required for stable hyperspace entry." A junior salesman named Kiv overheard and burst into laughter. Listen to him trying to sound smart. "Next he'll tell us humans invented faster-than-light travel. The phase variance in quantum tunneling," Wu continued, ignoring the mockery, "requires precise calibration of exotic matter distribution. Without proper dark energy channeling, the ship would be torn apart by dimensional shear forces." Kiv's laughter grew louder, attracting more attention. Dimensional shear forces. He's been watching too many science fiction holos. Humans think they understand technology just because they can operate the controls. Another salesman joined in. "My toddler nephew knows more about hyperspace physics than this human. At least he doesn't pretend to understand quantum mechanics." The crowd of onlookers grew larger as more staff members gathered to enjoy the entertainment. Even some customers began recording the spectacle on their personal devices, apparently finding the humans' presumption hilarious. "The quantum foam fluctuations alone," Wu pressed on, his voice steady despite the ridicule, "would require computational power beyond most species' capabilities. The mathematical models involve 17-dimensional matrices that NOUGH. They're fraud." His blue face flushed with anger. "Security. Escort this delusional human off the premises before he embarrasses himself further. Anjix, report to Maintenance Supervisor Grex immediately. You'll be cleaning waste recycling systems for the next month." Yix shot Wu an apologetic look before hurrying away. Her head down in shame, the security guards approached with their weapons conspicuously visible, ready to forcibly remove the troublesome human. But Wu simply smiled and nodded politely to the assembled crowd. He'd learned everything he needed to know about how Stellar Prime dealership operated. The hierarchy of species, the casual discrimination, the arrogant assumption that humans were inferior beings incapable of understanding advanced technology. Tomorrow would bring some very interesting surprises for everyone involved. The morning, Son of Kepler Prime cast long shadows across the dealership's landing platform as 3 sleek enforcement vessels descended from orbit. Their hulls bore the golden insignia of the Galactic Trade Commission, and their arrival sent ripples of curiosity through the showroom staff. These weren't ordinary patrol ships, they were the elite craft reserved for the most serious legal matters in the galaxy. Park High stepped out of the lead vessel, her crisp business suit a stark contrast to the utilitarian uniforms of her security escort. Behind her marched 12 Trade Commission enforcers, their advanced armor gleaming with built-in shield generators and energy weapons. Each one was a veteran of corporate wars and interstellar disputes, trained to handle the galaxy's most powerful business leaders and criminal organizations. The showroom fell silent as the procession entered through the main doors. Customers stopped browsing and staff members froze in place, unsure whether they were witnessing an inspection or a raid. The massive enforcers spread out in a defensive formation, their helmet sensors scanning every corner of the facility for potential threats. Zeph emerged from his office, his forearms spread wide in a gesture of confused welcome. Officers, there must be some mistake. Stellar Prime dealership operates in full compliance with all galactic regulations. We pay our taxes, follow safety protocols, and manage Zeph of the Alterian homeworld. I interrupted, her voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to commanding attention. You are in violation of multiple interstellar commerce statutes, specifically discrimination based on species origin, denial of service to qualified customers, and harassment of the legal property owner. The blue-skinned manager's eyes widened in disbelief. Property owner? I don't understand. The new owner is a respected member of galactic society, not some random complainant who, Mr. Kim Woo, I announced, her voice echoing through the vast showroom, is the sole proprietor of Terra Dynamics Corporation and the new owner of this entire dealership chain. His company purchased all Stellar Prime assets, including this facility, last month through legal acquisition proceedings. A collective gasp rippled through the assembled crowd. The Alterian military officers who had been browsing the VIP section turned to stare in shock. The Zentari family looked bewildered, their crystalline bodies flickering with confused energy patterns. Even the massive Thaxian guards seemed taken aback by this unexpected revelation. Wu stepped forward from where he'd been quietly observing near the navigation displays. Today, he wore the same simple clothes as yesterday, but somehow his presence seemed to fill the enormous space. The security cameras that had tracked him with suspicion now felt like the eyes of the rightful owner surveying his domain. This is impossible, Zeph stammered, his blue face turning an even paler shade. Humans don't have that kind of wealth. They're a primitive species that barely achieved space flight a few centuries ago. They don't possess the technology or resources to acquire major galactic corporations. High's smile was as cold as the vacuum of space. Terra Dynamics Corporation is currently valued at 800 billion galactic credits. Their revolutionary advances in quantum propulsion technology have made them the most sought-after contractor. In the known galaxy, every major civilization is competing for licensing agreements with human engineers. She gestured to one of her enforcers, who activated a holographic projector, the air filled with scrolling legal documents, corporate acquisition papers, and financial statements that painted a picture of staggering wealth and influence. The numbers were so large that several customers had to check their translation devices to make sure they were reading correctly. Furthermore, Hai continued, Mr. Wu's treatment yesterday constituted a clear violation of 17 separate interstellar commerce laws. Denial of service based on species, public humiliation of a legitimate customer, and discrimination against the legal property owner. Each violation carries a fine of 50 million credits and potential criminal charges. Admiral Vex, who had been receiving VIP treatment just the day before, stepped forward with obvious nervousness. Surely there's been some administrative error. The human seemed like an ordinary tourist, not a corporate executive of this magnitude. That's exactly the problem. Wu spoke for the first time, his calm voice cutting through the tension. Your assumptions about my capabilities were based entirely on my appearance and species. You never bothered to actually verify my credentials or listen to what I had to say. The young mechanic Yix emerged from behind a row of fighters, her work uniform still stained with engine fluid. Her eyes were wide with amazement as she realized the human she'd tried to help was actually her new employer. Yesterday, I attempted to engage in a simple business transaction. Wu continued, walking slowly through the showroom as everyone's attention focused on him. I was insulted, dismissed, and ultimately threatened with forcible removal, not because I lacked the means to make a purchase, but because your manager assumed humans were inherently inferior. Zev's forearms trembled as the full weight of his mistake became clear. Sir, if I had known who you were, I would never have. That's precisely the point, Wu interrupted. You should treat every customer with basic respect regardless of their species or appearance. The young lady who tried to help me yesterday understood that principle. You did not. I activated her enforcement authority scanner, its red beam sweeping across Zeph's trembling form. Manager Zeph, you are hereby terminated from your position effective immediately. Your conduct has brought legal liability to this establishment and violated the basic principles of interstellar commerce. Security will escort you from the premises. Two Trade Commission enforcers stepped forward, their heavy boots echoing on the polished floor. Zeph looked round desperately, seeking support from the staff who had left at the human customer just 24 hours earlier. Now they all avoided his gaze, suddenly very interested in their workstations and inventory reports. Please, Zev pleaded. I've managed this facility for 15 years. I've increased profits by 300%. Surely we can reach some arrangement. Your employment contract included specific clauses about treating all customers fairly. I replied, consulting her legal tablet. Your actions yesterday were recorded by multiple security cameras and witnessed by dozens of individuals. The evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. As the enforcers began to escort Zeph toward the exit, Wu raised his hand. Wait. I'd like to offer the former manager a choice. He can face the full legal consequences of his actions, including potential criminal charges and permanent blacklisting from the industry. Or he can accept a position in our maintenance department, where he'll learn to appreciate the value of honest work and respectful treatment of others. The showroom fell completely silent. Even the ambient noise of the environmental systems seemed to pause as everyone absorbed the implications of this unexpected mercy. Zeph looked up with desperate hope, his arrogance completely shattered. I accept your offer, sir. Thank you for your generosity. Wu nodded once, then turned to address the entire showroom. Today marks the beginning of a new era for this establishment. We will serve all customers with equal respect and professionalism, regardless of their species, appearance, or perceived wealth. Excellence in service will be our standard, not the exception. The crowd of onlookers began to murmur with excitement and approval. The transformation they were witnessing would ripple throughout the entire sector, challenging assumptions that had existed for generations. The massive showroom doors at the far end of Stellar Prime dealership suddenly began to iris open with a deep mechanical hum that resonated through the floor. Everyone turned to watch as brilliant white light flooded in from the private hangar beyond. What emerged from that blinding radiance made even the most experienced spacers in the room gasp with amazement. A sleek vessel, and like anything they had ever seen, glided silently into the showroom, defying gravity without any visible propulsion system. Its hull seemed to bend light round itself, creating rippling distortions in the air that hurt to look at directly. The ship's surface appeared to be made of liquid mercury that constantly shifted and flowed, yet maintained perfect structural integrity. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored beings of all species were announced as the mysterious craft settled gently onto the display platform. Allow me to introduce the Terror-class prototype. Humanity's first successful gravity-fueled vessel, Admiral Vex, who had commanded fleets across 3 sectors, stepped forward with his jaw hanging open. That's impossible. Gravity manipulation technology is purely theoretical. The energy requirements alone would drain the power core of a battle station. Wu smiled and placed his hand on a barely visible control panel that materialized from the ship's flowing surface. Instantly, holographic displays erupted around the vessel, showing complex mathematical equations and energy readings that made the showroom's most advanced computers look like children's toys. Human scientists on Earth discovered that gravity isn't just a force, Wu explained as the displays shifted to show 3-dimensional models of space-time itself. It's a fundamental property of reality that can be folded, twisted, and manipulated like fabric by creating controlled gravitational waves. We can compress the distance between any 2 points in the universe. The Centauri family, who had been treated so poorly the day before, pressed closer to examine the readings. Their crystalline bodies began resonating with harmonic frequencies as they processed the incredible data streaming before them. These calculations, the father whispered, his voice tinkling with awe, they showed travel times of hours instead of months. A journey to the Andromeda Galaxy would take less than a standard day. Exactly. Wu confirmed, activating another control sequence. The ship's hull became transparent, revealing an interior that defied conventional physics. The passenger compartment existed in what appeared to be folded space, providing room for hundreds while occupying no more physical area than a small fighter craft. Kiv, the salesman who had mocked Wu's technical knowledge, stumbled backward in shock. This violates everything we know about engineering. The power source alone should require a miniature star. Actually, Wu replied, gesturing to a pulsing core visible through the transparent deck. It runs on quantum vacuum energy. We've learned to harvest the zero-point fluctuations that exist in empty space itself. The universe provides unlimited fuel for those who understand how to ask for it. A group of Corvan ambassadors, who had been quietly observing from the diplomatic section, suddenly activated their emergency communication devices. Within moments, they were speaking rapidly in their native language to contacts on their home world. Ambassador Kryn seems quite interested, Park High observed with amusement. Perhaps because the Corvan Empire has been trying to develop gravity manipulation for the past 3 centuries without success. The ambassador finished his urgent conversation and approached Wu with obvious excitement. Mr. Kim, the Corvan High Council has authorized me to offer 200 billion credits for exclusive licensing rights to this technology. Before Wu could respond, Admiral Vex stepped forward aggressively. The Alterian military has priority rights to any advanced weapons technology discovered in our sector. This vessel clearly has strategic applications. Indeed, Wu agreed. Activating the ship's defensive systems, energy barriers sprang into existence around the vessel. But these weren't ordinary shields. They created pockets of distorted space-time that would deflect incoming attacks into parallel dimensions. However, humanity isn't interested in selling weapons. We are offering transportation solutions. The young mechanic Yix had been studying the technical readouts with growing excitement, sir. These energy efficiency ratings are beyond anything I've ever seen. A single ship like this could revolutionize interstellar commerce. Wu turned to face her with approval, precisely the kind of thinking we need. Yix, I'm promoting you to Director of Customer Relations. Your ability to recognize value regardless of its source makes you perfect for representing human technology to the galaxy. The former mechanic's blue skin flushed with pride and disbelief. Sir, I'm just a maintenance worker. I don't have experience in management or diplomacy. You have something more valuable, Wu replied. You have an open mind and the courage to treat others with respect. Those qualities are worth more than years of corporate experience. Zeph, who is now wearing a maintenance worker's uniform, watched the proceedings with obvious regret. His former position was being filled by someone he had previously considered. Beneath his notice, the Thaxian Industrial Consortium announced a massive figure in the crowd, offers 500 billion credits from manufacturing rights. The Hive Mind Collective bids 700 billion. Came a buzzing chorus of voices from the insectoid delegation. Wu raised his hand for silence. Gentlemen, ladies, and esteemed collective consciousness, Terra Dynamics isn't holding an auction. We're establishing partnerships based on mutual respect and shared benefits. He activated a communication panel, and additional holographic displays showed shipping routes, trade agreements, and diplomatic accords that spanned the known galaxy. These are the civilizations that have already signed cooperation agreements with humanity: the Peaceful Commerce Alliance, the Democratic World Federation, the Independent Traders Guild, species that treat their partners as equals. The displays showed a network of alliances that dwarfed any single empire or military force. Humanity had quietly built relationships across the galaxy while others assumed they were still primitive. Irrelevant, your primitive species, Wu addressed the stunned crowd, now controls not just the fastest ships in known space, but the most extensive diplomatic network. We didn't conquer the galaxy through force. We earned our place through innovation, cooperation, and respect for others. A small shuttle materialized outside the showroom windows, its hull bearing the insignia of the Galactic Senate. Through the transparent aluminum, everyone could see Senator Dax of the Regelian Confederation stepping out with a full diplomatic escort. It appears, Park High observed with satisfaction, that news of our demonstration has reached the highest levels of galactic government. Senator Dax has been trying to arrange a meeting with Terra Dynamics for months. The irony wasn't lost on anyone present. Yesterday, a human had been dismissed as unworthy of basic customer service. Today, the galaxy's most powerful leaders were literally lining up for the chance to speak with him. Wu looked round the showroom at the faces of those who had witnessed this transformation. Some showed shame, others excitement, but all reflected a new understanding of humanity's place in the cosmic order. The future belongs to those who embrace cooperation over competition. He announced, "Welcome to the new age of galactic commerce." 6 months after the revelation that shook the galaxy, Stellar Prime dealership had transformed into something unprecedented in interstellar commerce. The once segregated showroom now buzzed with activity as beings from every corner of known space worked together in perfect harmony. Where discrimination once ruled, cooperation now flourished under humanity's enlightened leadership. Yix stood in the center of the vast showroom, her blue skin glowing with confidence as she coordinated between a dozen different species. Her promotion from lowly mechanic to Director of Customer Relations had inspired workers throughout the sector. Today she wore a crisp uniform bearing the Terra Dynamics logo. speaking fluently with Centauri traders, Corvan diplomats, and even the mysterious Shadow Wraith collectors who rarely dealt with other species. The new Phantom-class stealth cruiser uses human cloaking technology that bends light round the entire vessel, she explained to a group of fascinated customers. And like traditional energy shields, our dimensional phasing makes the ship exist slightly outside normal space-time. The assembled beings watched in amazement as a sleek fighter demonstrated the technology, vanishing completely from sight before reappearing behind them. Gasps of wonder echoed through the showroom. Even the most advanced species realized they were witnessing capabilities beyond their current understanding. In the depths of the storage bays, Zev pushed a cleaning cart between towering stacks of spare parts and maintenance equipment. His once pristine manager's uniform had been replaced with simple work clothes, and his forearms now carried mops and recycling containers instead of luxury items and status symbols. The fall from power had been complete and humbling. Storage Bay 7 needs decontamination, announced a service droid as it rolled past. Corvan digestive enzymes have created acidic residue on the deck plating. Zev sighed and adjusted his cleaning supplies. A year ago, he wouldn't have acknowledged the existence of such menial tasks. Now, he performed them with grudging acceptance, having learned the hard way that every job in the galaxy deserved respect. Sometimes he caught glimpses of the main showroom through security monitors, watching his former domain flourish under human guidance. Meanwhile, in the executive offices high above the sales floor, Wu reviewed holographic reports showing unprecedented success across all sectors. Sales had increased by 800%. Customer satisfaction ratings reached perfect scores, and most importantly, workplace equality had become the standard rather than the exception. So, announced his personal assistant, a graceful Etherean named Silk, whose gossamer wings shimmered with bioluminescent patterns. The Galactic Defense Alliance delegation has arrived for the fleet delivery ceremony. Through the office's panoramic windows, Wu could see a formation of massive transport ships descending through the atmosphere. Each vessel carried human-enhanced warships destined for the galaxy's premier peacekeeping force. These weren't weapons of conquest, but tools of protection designed to safeguard trade routes and defend innocent worlds from pirates and aggressors. The main hangar bay had been cleared for the ceremony, its vast space filled with representatives from 47 different worlds. Admiral Chen of the Terran Space Force stood beside General Vorthik of the Regelian Defense Corps, while Senator Luminar of the Crystal Worlds conversed quietly with Ambassador Thoric of the Stone Pay. Opal's Republic, species that had been enemies for centuries, now worked together under humanity's diplomatic guidance. Legion, Wu's brilliant head engineer, emerged from the lead transport ship wearing the distinctive silver uniform of Terra Dynamics Technical Division. Behind him floated a procession of the most advanced warships ever constructed, their hulls gleaming with integrated human technology that made them faster, stronger, and more efficient than anything previously imagined. Distinguished beings of the Galactic Defense Alliance, Legion announced, his voice amplified by translation devices that converted his words into dozens of languages simultaneously. I present the first squadron of Terror-class peacekeeping vessels. Each ship incorporates breakthrough advances in propulsion, defense, and life support systems that will revolutionize space-based security operations. The lead vessel, a magnificent cruiser named Unity, demonstrated its capabilities by generating a protective energy field large enough to encompass an entire planet. Its weapon systems could disable hostile ships without causing permanent damage, while its medical facilities could treat any known species in the galaxy. Most impressively, its gravity-fueled engines could respond to emergency calls anywhere in the sector within minutes rather than days. These ships represent more than advanced technology. Wu addressed the assembled dignitaries as he joined the ceremony. They embody humanity's commitment to peaceful cooperation and mutual defense. We don't seek to dominate the galaxy through superior firepower. We want to protect it through superior wisdom. Ambassador Keth of the Democratic Worlds Federation stepped forward, his crystalline form refracting the hangar's lights into rainbow patterns. 6 months ago, many of us viewed humanity as a minor species with limited potential. Today, we recognize that underestimating your people was perhaps the greatest strategic error in galactic history. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. The Alterian Empire had formally apologized for their species' arrogant behavior and requested human advisors for their military academies. The Thaxian Consortium had restructured their entire corporate hierarchy based on Terra Dynamics' egalitarian principles. Even the proud Corvan High Council had adopted human diplomatic protocols for their interstellar negotiations. Humanity doesn't just belong in space, Wu declared, his words carrying across the hangar and being broadcast to billions of beings throughout the galaxy. We're going to lead it, not through conquest or intimidation, but through innovation, cooperation, and respect for all sentient life. The ceremony concluded with the symbolic transfer of command codes to the Alliance's multi-species Leadership Council, as the enhanced warships powered up their systems and prepared for their first patrol missions. Their human-designed artificial intelligences began coordinating with Alliance headquarters using communication protocols that operated faster than light itself. In the months that followed, the transformation continued to spread throughout the galaxy. Other species actively sought human partnerships, offering their most valuable resources and technologies in exchange for cooperation agreements. Trade routes flourished under human protection, scientific research accelerated through collaborative projects, and centuries-old conflicts were resolved through Terra Dynamics' diplomatic innovations. The young mechanic who had shown kindness to a seemingly ordinary human customer had become one of the most successful business leaders in the sector. The arrogant manager who had dismissed that same human now understood the value of humility and honest work. And the species that had once been considered primitive had proven that wisdom and respect could accomplish what force and prejudice never could. In space stations across the galaxy, beings of every description worked together under human guidance, building a future where potential was measured by character rather than appearance, and where the smallest act of kindness could change the course of galactic history. The age of human leadership had begun, and the universe would never be the same. The ND.